what a disappointment. Devastation for the Lionesses. They've been sad. If you're just tuning in now, they've just been defeated by the Spanish in the World Cup final with a result of 1-0 to Spain. So with me to give us his top analysis is sports broadcaster and journalist Aidan Magee. I was looking forward to, popping the champagne at the start of this show, but alas, it wasn't meant to be. We're so used to being disappointed, aren't we?
We are, but in truth, Emily, England was simply not good enough on the day. That's the cold, harsh reality. That's the reality also of top-level sport. Sometimes it goes for you, sometimes it doesn't. Now, Serena Vigman opted to go with the same team that won the semi-final. That meant that Lauren James, who was a star performer earlier in the tournament, but was suspended due to a petulant kick-out against against Nigeria, in the first knockout stage. It meant that she missed out because she was eligible again following the suspension. She was on the bench. And so, as I say, unchanged from the previous match, but they just lacked energy to me. There was no conviction in the passing. The movement wasn't good. They looked overrun in midfield, which is hard, really, because it wasn't a lack of numbers that caused the overrunning by Spain, but it was just the movement, if you like. Spain just seemed much more accomplished in possession. England hit the bar in the 15th minute. That was Lauren Hemp, and you thought that maybe galvanise England into doing something different. But then Olga Carmona, 29 minutes, a really well-worked goal down the left-hand side. Lucy Bronze had come into the middle. She'd vacated a space. This is what the top sides do. They spot the space where the England player had vacated. They switched the play from right to left. There was a massive overload on the left-hand side, massive gap, and Spain scored a really good goal. It was a goal to win worthy of winning a World Cup final. In the second half, you can't say the changes weren't bold. They went to 4-4-2. They brought two substitutes on. Chloe Kelly came on, who won the Euros last year with the winning goal against Germany at Wembley. And, of course, Lauren James, who we mentioned a moment ago, but they had no impact whatsoever. There were no major chances carved out for England, really. And Spain missed a penalty. It could have been worse for England. It took a long time to realise that, for the referee, Tori Perso, the American, to make the decision, which leads you to think via VAR that it was probably, the on-field decision was probably right, as in no penalty, but it was judged to be a handball. But Hermosa missed the penalty. Mary Earp saved it well. Even with the 13 minutes of added time, Emily, England didn't do enough with the ball. They were lumping the ball into the opposition half, which they'd not really done earlier in the tournament. They were vacating their principles in a way.
But nervous.
I think I was nerves. It was fatigue as well. Look, it's a long tournament. That's the 7th game out in, 2.5, 3 weeks, I think it is. So, it's a marathon. I mean, it's the same for Spain as well. And you have a big squad. There were, 10, 11 substitutes on the bench as well. So you've got that. I just wonder whether they'll have regrets, without doubt, because that wasn't the England we'd seen earlier in the tournament. As I've said quite often over the last few days, they tend to get the job done, and they didn't get the job done today. But lessons learned, hopefully. Still great progress getting to the World Cup final. That's what you'd have to look at with the bigger picture, but disappointment on the day.
Absolute disappointment. And, of course, there was so much made of this final here in this country. Every celebrity, everyone in the public talking about it, really talking about it. And we haven't spoken about women's football that much in previous years, and this time it really was the excitement there. I think we've got pictures on the screen now. I'm not sure where this is, but we've got... where is it?
It's the Box
Fan Park. It's the Box Park in London. Oh, yes.
Wembley, I think.
Oh, it's in Wembley. It's in Wembley. So these are people there watching with their friends, meeting new people. I mean, it really has brought people together and brought young girls to the sport who probably hadn't considered it and thought it was a game for just boys.
6 or 7 years ago, Emily, that scene just wouldn't have happened.
No.
Simple as that. I mean, we saw it a bit for the Euros last year. England won, of course. That was on home soil. But, yeah, we've not seen those pictures before. That's new ground. And I think that will be normal. I remember it happening in the men's game. I remember back in Euro 96, suddenly pubs started being packed watching the game. It became a cultural thing, and it's never really dissipated. And I think that will be the same now. Any excuse to get out and have a few beers as well.
Well, exactly. Any excuse. And it's nice to see that there's lots of men there out cheering. It's not just a women's only event.
No, a successful tournament. It's very tough to go down under to Australia and knock out the hosts, of course. And every time they asked questions, they came back. And Spain are just a really decent side, and they adjusted and acquitted themselves to the day, to the occasion, to the conditions even, better than England did. But this is by no means a disaster.
What a disappointment. I really thought they would win. I mean, I don't have much to back that up apart from a sense of patriotic pride.
I think I told you they'd win as well.
Well, Aidan did tell me they were going to win when I bumped
into... sacked.
I bumped into Aidan this morning. He had the screen up, watching the show, making his notes, watching the football match, making his notes,
nice
as the professional he is, with a cup of tea. And he said we were definitely going to win. But alas...
I think it's a definitely.
Not 100%, but, you know, the odds were on, and sadly, it wasn't the case. Very disappointed, but you know what? They've done a fantastic job of getting to where they were, and it's lovely. It's really lovely to see all the support there was out there for them. And, you know, it's only 1 o'clock, lots of time to celebrate what they've accomplished.
And they were beaten by a decent side as well, let's be fair.
They were beat by the Spanish, who usually are a very decent team, aren't they?
Yeah.